He was 72 years old when it happened, alone in his bedroom, early morning, just like always. He thought it was harmless, a routine he'd followed for years, just a little release to start the day. But this time, something went wrong. His heart began to race, his vision blurred. Moments later, he collapsed. By the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. What killed him wasn't the act itself, it was how and when he did it. I'm Dr. James, a board-certified urologist with over 30 years helping older men navigate the complex intersection of aging, sexuality, and health. And today I want to talk about something that nearly every man does, but few understand the risks. Because here's the truth, masturbation isn't the problem. But 4 specific mistakes, especially when made in the morning, can quietly damage your circulation, your nerves, and even your heart, without you ever knowing why. In this video, I'll break down those silent dangers, explain why mornings are the most vulnerable time, and give you safer, smarter alternatives to protect your manhood and your life. And later, I'll share the exact time of day when self-pleasure becomes not just safe, but actually good for you. Let's begin. Before we continue, if you find this kind of honest, life-saving information helpful, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I share practical health advice specifically for men over 60, so you stay strong, sharp, and safe in your later years. And if this message is speaking to you already, just type 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. If you feel something's missing, type 0. I read every response. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. What are the 4 dangerous masturbation mistakes men make in the morning, and why are they quietly harming your body more than you think? Let me walk you through each one. Mistake 1. Rushing it on an empty stomach and dehydrated body. Let me tell you something that most older men have never been told, and it's costing them more than they realize. Every week, I see patients who start their day with the same quiet routine. They wake up early before the rest of the world stirs. They haven't eaten, haven't had a sip of water, and their body is still adjusting from hours of rest. And without even thinking, they begin to pleasure themselves. No stretching, no nourishment, no hydration, just a moment of quick release. To them, it feels innocent. But to their aging heart, constricted blood vessels, and fragile nerves, it's a silent ambush. You see, after age 60, the male body doesn't bounce back like it used to. Blood pressure regulation becomes more delicate. Circulation slows during the night. The body wakes up in a dehydrated, low-sugar state. And when you stimulate sexual arousal in that condition, it places sudden demand on the cardiovascular system. Your heart rate spikes, your vessels contract rapidly, and your blood gets pulled toward your pelvis when your brain and heart still need it most. For some men, this leads to dizziness, weakness, or heart palpitations. For others, the consequences are more serious: fainting, sudden drops in blood pressure, or even cardiac events. One man I treated last year collapsed in his bathroom just minutes after climax. He thought he was having a panic attack. It turned out to be a transient ischemic attack, a warning stroke, all because he didn't realize how vulnerable the body is first thing in the morning. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up to a simple truth. Your body needs preparation before you put it under stress, even the stress of pleasure. A glass of water, a few light movements, and a small bite of food can make all the difference. It's about respect. Respect for the machine that's carried you this far. Most men never make that connection. No one talks about it. But it's time we do, because ignoring it could mean paying a price you don't see coming. Now, if you think this first mistake is eye-opening, wait until you hear the second. It's something millions of men do every morning with their phones, and it's not just destroying their intimacy, it's rewiring their brain. Let me explain. If you're still here and these insights are resonating with you, just type 1 in the comments so I know you're taking this journey seriously. Now let's continue with the next powerful truth that every man over 60 needs to hear. Mistake 2. Using porn as a morning stimulus every day. Most men won't admit it, but many of them do it. They wake up, grab their phone, and before their feet even touch the floor, they're already scrolling. Not through the news, not through family photos, but through explicit videos looking for something to jumpstart their arousal. For decades, I've heard men say, "Doc, it's just part of my morning. It helps me feel alive." But here's what they don't realize. When you start your day this way, especially every day, you're doing something far more dangerous than you think. You're not just stimulating your body, you're reprogramming your brain. Let me explain. When you're over 60, your dopamine system, the part of the brain responsible for reward and motivation, becomes more sensitive and less forgiving. When you expose it repeatedly to high-intensity erotic content, especially first thing in the morning, your brain gets overloaded with stimulation that it didn't evolve to handle. That surge of dopamine may feel good in the moment, but over time it leads to desensitization. Suddenly, real intimacy feels flat. Touch becomes dull. A partner's affection doesn't register like it used to. Your body might still respond, but your mind becomes disconnected. I've had men in my office, good men, who tell me they can no longer get aroused with their wives, not because the love is gone, but because their brain has been trained to chase novelty, speed, and constant stimulation. And the worst part? They never saw it coming. They thought it was just a harmless video. But day after day, year after year, it rewired their arousal, damaged their ability to bond, and quietly stole their confidence. If you're starting every day with this habit, I'm asking you to take a step back. What you feed your brain in the morning shapes how it functions all day. Choose peace over pixels. Choose presence over porn. It may feel strange at first, but your mind and body will thank you. You deserve connection that's real, not just a dopamine hit on a screen. And if that strikes a nerve, you're not alone. But the next mistake might shock you even more, because it has nothing to do with what you watch and everything to do with how you position your body during climax. This one mistake could be silently cutting off your circulation every single morning. Let me show you how. Mistake 3. Masturbating in a tensed or seated posture that cuts off blood flow. This is the kind of mistake that seems so small, most men don't give it a second thought. But in my years as a urologist, I've seen how this one simple habit, done in silence behind closed doors, can quietly wear down a man's sexual health. I had a patient once, 74 years old, strong-willed, proud, still living alone. He told me he always did the same thing each morning, sat down on the edge of his bed, leaned forward, and got it done quick. No thought to posture, no awareness of tension, just habit. When I asked him how he felt afterward, he paused. Lately, he said, numb, less feeling, takes longer, not like it used to be. What he didn't realize was that he was cutting off circulation to his own pelvis, compressing the blood vessels and nerves that power erection, sensation, and even bladder control. When you hunch forward, squeeze your thighs, and create tension in your pelvic floor, especially day after day, you put chronic pressure on the pudendal nerve and internal iliac arteries. For younger men, the body recovers. But after 60, your system becomes less forgiving. The result? Tingling, reduced sensitivity, delayed climax, or worse, numbness and long-term dysfunction. It happens slowly, quietly. A little less sensation here, a little more stiffness there, and most men assume it's just aging. But the truth is, your position matters. Masturbating in a tight, seated, or slouched posture starves your sexual organs of the oxygen and blood they desperately need to stay healthy. You're trying to awaken pleasure, but you're literally strangling the flow that makes pleasure possible. I told that patient to change just one thing: lie back. Support his hips. Keep the pelvis open. Within weeks, he noticed better sensitivity, more relaxed arousal, and a deeper connection to the experience. Sometimes the smallest adjustment can change everything. Most older men never get told this. No one teaches it, but it matters more than you think. Now, as important as blood flow is, there's one more mistake I need to show you. And it's not physical, it's emotional. Because what you believe about yourself during and after self-pleasure can quietly damage your hormones, your heart, and even your memory. Stay with me. This one runs deeper than most men realize. If you're still watching and this message is hitting home, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're here and still with me. Now, let's move forward to point number 4. This one may challenge what you thought you knew. Mistake 4. Morning guilt and shame that spike cortisol. This may be the most invisible mistake of them all, and yet in my years working with older men, I've seen it leave deeper scars than any physical issue ever could. It's not about how you move, it's not about what you watch, it's about what you feel afterward, and for many men, that feeling is shame. A lot of older men carry this silent weight. Maybe it's rooted in religious beliefs. Maybe they were raised to see self-pleasure as something wrong, something weak or unclean. Or maybe it's just the quiet loneliness of growing older, the emptiness of waking up alone and trying to feel something, anything, before facing another long day. And so even if the act brings a few moments of release, it's often followed by something far heavier: self-judgment, regret, and a voice inside that whispers, "You shouldn't have." What most men don't realize is that this emotional spiral does more than damage your spirit. It changes your chemistry. That wave of guilt triggers a surge in cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. And when cortisol spikes first thing in the morning, it doesn't just ruin your mood. It suppresses testosterone, raises your blood pressure, weakens your immune system, and interferes with memory. I've had men come to me worried about brain fog, fatigue, even ED, and in many cases the root of it all was unspoken emotional stress, shame tied to a perfectly natural act. Your body listens to your emotions. When you tell yourself you're dirty or weak for seeking pleasure, your biology responds with tension and toxicity. But when you give yourself permission to feel joy, to experience connection, even with yourself, your body softens. Hormones balance. Healing begins. You deserve that. You deserve peace, even in your private moments. And no man should be punished emotionally or hormonally for trying to feel human again. Most men think they have to choose between secrecy and shame, but there's a better way. A way to honor your body, care for your mind, and still enjoy intimacy without fear or fallout. And it starts by knowing when to do it. Timing isn't just a convenience, it can be the difference between healing and harm. In just a moment, I'll reveal the exact time of day when self-pleasure becomes not only safe, but genuinely beneficial for your health. Don't miss this. The ideal time. When self-pleasure becomes healing, not harm. If there's one question I get more than any other from older men, it's this: "Doctor, when is the right time?" After everything we've covered, the dangers of rushing it in the morning, the damage of guilt, the harm from bad habits, that question becomes more than just practical. It becomes personal. Because timing isn't just about routine, it's about respecting your body's rhythms, honoring your energy, and choosing moments that support healing instead of stress. So here's what I tell my patients, plainly and without judgment. The best time for self-pleasure after 60 is late afternoon to early evening, typically between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Why? Because by that time your body is awake, hydrated, and nourished. Your heart has settled into a steady rhythm. Blood circulation is stronger. Cortisol levels, which spike in the early morning, are tapering off. And perhaps most importantly, testosterone, your key hormone for desire and vitality, naturally begins to rise again in this window. During these hours, your nervous system is more relaxed. Your mind is clearer. You're less likely to feel rushed or guilty. This creates the perfect internal environment for healthy arousal, satisfying release, and mental calm afterward. What may surprise you is how different the experience feels. Instead of tension or urgency, there's room for presence. Instead of shame, there's peace. Instead of a crash, there's restoration. I once had a man in his 60s come to me saying he felt disconnected from pleasure, like his body had given up on it. We talked through his habits, and it turned out he was forcing it early in the day, in silence and stress. I asked him to try just one thing: shift the timing, wait until late afternoon. Make it a moment of care, not a coping mechanism. A few weeks later, he returned and smiled. "It feels human again," he told me. "It feels like me." That's what I want for every man watching this, because intimacy, even with yourself, isn't just about function, it's about dignity, presence, and feeling alive again. So if you've been struggling, questioning, or simply surviving through routine, maybe the change you need isn't in the act, but in the timing. Try this shift and let your body show you the difference. It's never too late to reclaim your health, one quiet moment at a time. Final thoughts. Reclaiming intimacy. Respecting the body. By now, you may be seeing things a little differently. And if you are, I want to say something clearly. You're not alone. You're not broken, and you're certainly not the only man over 60 trying to make sense of what's happening behind closed doors. I've spent over 3 decades listening to men just like you, strong, proud, private, who've carried questions, habits, and quiet fears they were too ashamed to say out loud. And what I've learned is this: no matter how old you are, your desire to feel connection, to feel pleasure, to feel alive, it never fully disappears. It just gets quieter, more complicated, and more vulnerable to damage when we ignore what the body is trying to tell us. We've talked today about 4 specific mistakes older men often make when it comes to morning masturbation. They don't sound dangerous at first: skipping breakfast, watching a quick video, sitting the wrong way, feeling a little guilt. But over time, these small things build up. They change your hormones. They choke your circulation. They reshape your brain and wear down your confidence, all while you're still telling yourself it's no big deal. But it is a big deal, because your health is a big deal. Your heart, your blood vessels, your nerves, your hormones, all of it matters more now than ever before. The older we get, the more every little choice starts to carry weight. That's not something to fear, it's something to honor. Your body deserves that. You deserve that. And here's the part I want you to remember most. This doesn't mean giving up pleasure, it means choosing it more wisely, mindfully, at the right time in the right way. Not as a secret, not as a crutch, but as a moment of self-respect. That's why I shared the ideal time to engage in self-pleasure, late afternoon to early evening, when your body is primed, your heart is steady, and your mind is calm. A time when the act supports healing, not harm. If you've been doing what you've always done and wondering why things feel different, now you know. And now you have the power to change it. Gently, quietly, but with purpose. I hope this gave you clarity. I hope it gave you permission. And more than anything, I hope it reminded you that you're still a man with needs, with worth, and with the right to feel good in your own skin. Even now, maybe especially now. So take what you've learned today and let it work for you. And if this message spoke to something deep inside, then share it with someone who might need to hear it too. Because we're all aging, but we don't have to do it alone or in silence. If this video helped you understand your body a little better or made you feel a little less alone, please take a moment to subscribe. I create content specifically for men in their 60s and beyond, because your health, your voice, and your dignity still matter. And if you're still with me, type "I'm still learning" in the comments below. Let's remind each other that growth doesn't end with age, it just begins to mean more.